3, 2, 1. Nose breathing. That's what I'm doing today. Breathe. We're breathing today.
We're trying to breathe.
Learning
how to breathe.
For sure. Really, really excited, man.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you, friend?
I am very good, and you?
Good.
Very happy to breathe with you today.
This is it. We're breathing and speaking at the same time. Well, you do both, right? At the same time.
Of course.
So, Elisabeth Bohler.
Yes, sir.
Bohler.
Bohler.
Bohler. See, I had to
Yeah,
say it right.
The French pronunciation is unique.
Really?
Huh? Yeah.
Okay. Bohler.
Bohler.
Okay,
Everything you say in French is unique.
I love it, man. It's a good accent.
It's a very unique language.
It's a proper accent. Sounds weird on guys. Sorry, no offense. But it works with the ladies. It works with the ladies. So, breathing.
Yes.
Certified breathing coach
Mm-hmm.
and a yoga instructor.
Yes, and meditation.
And meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. All the things we want to do. Everyone should be doing this until you prescribe to some.
Trying to learn.
Do you do meditation?
No, I don't.
You should.
I should.
Have you ever done it?
I have, and I know the benefits of it. It's just getting the consistency to breathe and meditate every single day.
But you do yoga, right?
I wouldn't classify myself as I do yoga. I have done it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't practice it.
Okay.
How can you help me?
Help us.
Well, the good news
To
is
get into the
we
routine.
say, yeah. Well, the good thing about the breathing that we say that breathing is actually the new yoga. Why? Because if we promote the yoga for the wellness, for the relaxation, from the breathing as well, if you only take the breathing itself, you have the ability to tap into your own physiology and to relax on demand through breathing only. You don't actually need the movement. The movement is here to support the breath. But if we actually want to start any shift in our well-being in our life today, the first thing is to learn how to breathe before anything else.
It's such a weird concept. We all do it, yet we need to learn it.
That's exactly the thing. Breathing is a subconscious pattern. You don't think about
Involuntary.
breathing, yet you still breathe.
Yeah.
Of course.
So that's the good thing about this is that it is accessible to everybody. It doesn't require anything else than yourself and your breath. It is an amazing tool for meditation. It is an amazing tool for sport performance, for everything. You have your breathing with you all the time.
Of course.
But we don't think about it because it is subconscious. And the minute we start putting awareness on our breathing today, the minute we start automatically change our entire chemistry and start relearning and really optimizing our breath. So our organs can function better, our muscles can recover faster, our bloodstream can be better, our pH levels, everything is impacted by the breath.
It's such a basic thing, but you really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you need? You need to eat, you need to drink, you need to sleep.
A little bit of exercise.
A little bit of exercise. Where's breathing? We never talk about breathing.
And you can actually you can stay without food for approximately 3 weeks. You can stay without drink approximately 3 days. You can't stay without oxygen for less than
minutes.
For more than 5-6 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's why don't we put so more attention to it? So now it started because that's what we also need to understand is that it's only from our side that it is very new. If we look at the yogis and the monks as well, the first thing they start to learn is breathing. In the yogis, you have a term called pranayama, which in Sanskrit means breath control. And it's a set of techniques that all yogis practice in the morning or at different times of the day to have different impact on your physiology. If you are exercising, if you want to awaken your body, if you want to just practice your endurance or breath holds. So there is already all of this in the yogis and in the East. Even the monks, before starting to meditate in all monasteries, they start by 6 months sitting and breathing.
Wow.
It is the fuel of our body.
I heard some monks, the way they breathe, or they tell you to breathe, it has to be effortless. Through your nose. Think of the hairs on your nose. They should not move. It's like, the snake that floats on water. That's how they express it is that.
That's how
And
they
all
promote.
from your nose, in and out.
Well, the concept of just focusing on it, you don't realize it. I think obviously we don't realize it. As you said, we kind of go about our day and we just breathe however we're breathing.
Mm-hmm.
To focus on, you realize when you hear, okay, you should be breathing through your nose, correct?
Yes.
You think that you do that, but then when you focus on it a bit, you realize most likely we're not.
And not only breathing through the nose, like there are a lot of different patterns that we do wrong. So if today, when I start approaching individuals or even companies and I start teaching breathing, the first thing I teach people is how to first put awareness on your breath, which, as we mentioned, from the subconscious pattern becomes something conscious. And second is the way to breathe itself before even starting with the nose and the mouth. Why we all tend to breathe quite shallow. We can do some tests together if you want to. But it's quite funny to see that pretty much 90% of the people do not breathe properly. And it's not because we intend to not breathe properly. It's just that there has been several factors that from the age where if you have kids, have you ever seen your baby breathing?
I don't have a baby.
Well, yeah, we've watched them.
Where does the breath come from? Does it come from the belly or from the chest?
It should come from the belly.
It should come from the belly.
The belly.
And
that's true. That's how babies.
And
breathe.
that's how every baby. And that's how we should aim to breathe. But the reality is that on top of breathing through the mouth, we also breathe through our chest.
Yeah.
Which results in a lot of different conditions and that affects a lot of different things in your body. From all of your respiratory system to your digestive system, your muscles, your bloodstream, the pH level.
So should we all stop breathing through our mouths? That's...
The thing to understand is how to reset at some point during our day and not let the stress being a constant hormone that we not only are feeling, but becomes a constant stage of fear in our mind. Our breathing is affected by our nervous system and vice versa. Our nervous system affects our breathing. The more stressed we are, the more shallow and quick we breathe and from the mouth. So we all have felt at some point, I'm suffocating. I'm out of breath. And it's not because I cannot breathe. It's because stress is here and it's shallow. And the more we open our mouths and try to take more oxygen, it doesn't work.
Breathing from your mouth, it puts your body in a state of fight or flight mode.
Exactly.
So when you're always shallow breathing, you're always putting your body under a stressed mode. So your sleeping sucks, your morning sucks, your concentration sucks. Everything goes to shit because of it.
If I'm to be honest, like if I reflect and think about when I'm properly breathing, the only time I really focus on it is when I'm doing cardio. So if I do cardio, I know, okay, breathe through your nose because I know it extends my stamina, right? But that's the only time I sit and think about it.
And as an athlete, this is already quite rare that you are conscious that you should breathe through your nose. That's one of the methods of the what has brought breathing a bit to the West as well recently is a method called Oxygen Advantage, and that is mainly focused on improving athletes' performance. And it tells you that through different exercise, including the mask and altitude training, they retrain you for your everyday breath. So as Lace was saying before, the most optimal way of breathing on an autopilot mode is you cannot hear my breath. I cannot hear my breath and I cannot feel my breath. That's when you're breathing optimal. But then when you're doing sport performance, you need to breathe through your nose because on the long run, it increases your stamina, but also your endurance and makes a big difference between athletes. So Patrick McKeown, which relies on this method and has created this method of Oxygen Advantage, is telling you that if you breathe through your mouth, not only you affect your daily activities, but your sleeping pattern, as you just mentioned. Sleeping is the basis of your energy. If you do not recharge at night, you cannot function properly and in an optimal way. But the more you breathe through your mouth, which is in a constant stage of fear of flight, what's happening is that you have snoring, sleep apnea, grinding. You wake up with your nose clogged. More than 70% of the population wake up and say that every morning they wake up with their nose clogged. All of these symptoms and conditions can actually be cured just by putting some mouse tape and forcing yourself to breathe through your nose.
Sounds so weird to do.
So that's it. That's what we're prescribing to.
It's all over Google.
That's it.
You can try it.
Everyone just tape your mouths.
What about somebody that has narrow nasal pathways? Do you recommend?
So that's the only. There is always contraindications before doing anything. This is a very safe practice, unless you had a nose surgery. So if one of your nostril is closed due to a surgery or a shock, it is different than people who just wake up and say, "Oh, my nose is clogged every day."
Yeah.
That's how you're going to cure it. So it's a bit still sometimes confusing with people because they don't want to try.
So the nose job ladies and men out there are screwed?
Yeah. Nose jobs, boxers,
MMA fighters.
A lot of people who had nose damage and have actually usually one or the other nostril closed.
Yeah. But I think through breathing exercise, you can train your nasal pathways to open up as well. The more you breathe, you can reverse
the damage or increase the capacity.
And that's why it's a circle actually, because people won't do it because they say, I cannot breathe through my nose, so I'm not going to do it. But at the same time, this is the only cure. The same for snoring, sleep apnea, like there is a lot of contradictions, but at the end of the day, it's also very dangerous, but the same way as now when you go to the hospital and you need hyperventilation, they give you. This is something that now in the breathing community is very contradictory, because you actually give people reduced oxygen at a very high rate per minute. So while everything we're training now, everybody is to say breathe deeper and breathe through your nose. Do not hyperventilate.
But that's, by the way, when you come back to the subject of COVID, that's now one of the indications that they're seeing is some physicians are coming out and saying the ventilator, the way that it was being used initially, was probably one of the causes of why the death rates were so high, because the people became dependent on it, and that transition out, your system is weakening day in, day out while the virus is tackling you. So what he was saying, I can't remember the name of the physician, but out of the US, and he basically said, just wait till the last moment. Like keep them away from that, because once you do that, you're kind of committing.
Yeah.
So
and you affect the immunity as well, and it's very important to make sure to not stay in a sympathetic pattern. So the more you inhale and the more you inhale through your mouth, or the more you hyperventilate, have a sympathetic reaction on your nervous system. So it activates it, and it weakens you, because you're keeping this stage for a long time. So it's
just like eating. There's a diagnosis for it, which is called chronic overbreathing. I think it's called, where just like you shouldn't overeat, you shouldn't overdrink, you should not overbreathe, and that talks about the relationship that we have with oxygen and carbon monoxide. Because all my life, and just recently, I found out that when you gasp for air after holding your breath for such a long time, you're not gasping for oxygen. You're gasping to get rid of the CO2 in your body. That's the difference. It's no longer that, because your blood is oxygenated. You're 98, 94% oxygen.
Oxygenation, yeah. But that's the revelation now, because we all said we need to breathe more. No, that's completely not true, because 90% of the population overbreathe.
Yeah.
We overbreathe in general, and we don't give the time, because the carbon dioxide is here. So you inhale your oxygen, you bring it to the lungs, it goes to the alveoli, goes to and then through the carbon dioxide, which happens to become a catalyst in this case, to push the oxygen through the cells and to your main organs. If it doesn't have the time because you overbreathe, or if you just get rid of too much carbon dioxide, you cannot do this essential chemical process that happens in the gas exchange. And that's why now all the light is on the carbon dioxide and the nitric oxide, which is the second gas that you produce by inhaling through your nose.
Yeah.
And that's why they tell you should not, you're not trying to eat through your nose, so do not try to breathe through your mouth. It's an
interesting one. But it's such a paradox. So you need carbon dioxide in your body in order to have oxygen delivered to your organs.
Yeah.
So
and especially because we see the carbon dioxide as eliminating toxins. So for us, there is this notion about carbon dioxide. It's a gas. It's bad. No, actually, it is. You feel the urge. The breathing itself happens because of the increasing level of carbon dioxide, and then you feel the urge to breathe. That's why if you goes into methods like Wim Hof, I don't know if you're familiar with them as well.
Yeah.
The breathing methods of Wim Hof is 3 sets or 4 sets of 2 minutes hyperventilation breathing.
Yeah. So he causes people to hyperventilate. Some people have seizures as well, isn't it, when they're doing it?
Not seizures. You pass out. But that's, again, your body adapting to a stressful situation and putting you in a safe side by making you fall asleep.
Yeah.
So automatically you will start breathing again, because what's happening in Wim Hof, you are taking 3 rounds of hyperventilation through the mouth, mainly big breath, and you do not release completely your carbon dioxide in your exhalation.
Yeah.
After 2 minutes of this, you are in hyperventilation and in hypoxia, what we call hypoxia. So you have over oxygen. And you also decrease a lot your carbon dioxide. When you, by definition there, you're going to be able to hold your breath for a very long time. Much more than if now, both of us, we stop breathing and we just count how much time we can. Why? Because we have been through this hyperventilation phase of 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And the only reason you can hold is not because you can hold. It's because you are so low in carbon dioxide that you do not feel the urge to breathe anymore.
So you eliminate,
and that's why you can pass out, and your body at some point says, okay, that person doesn't react automatically, so I'm gonna take over, and the nervous system take over, shut you down, put you asleep, so that then by definition you start breathing again.
It's very interesting.
And then, because like Wim Hof is very interesting. So a little bit of background. He's Dutch, right? And he's a Dutch guy that developed this technique. And a big part of what he promotes is healing yourself. Are you in that? Do you believe in that? Do you prescribe in that you can control your nervous system? You can control the way your body tackles viruses, the way, because he's done that, right?
Immunity.
Immunity, and he injects himself with a virus. They've tested it.
Yeah, big time. I mean, Wim Hof is one of the first things that I started to approach through breathing. So that's how I started to be more into breathing. I had few experience before, never really related them. But then when I started to do Wim Hof has personally changed my life. This is why I'm here, what I'm doing. It has for a long time became my daily routine as well. I was doing the breathing. I was doing very often ice baths. Now in my home in Bali, I'm lucky enough to have bought a freezer, and I used to do it for the past 6 months and go every morning in the ice bath. So I'm a big adept of Wim Hof method, and I'm passionate. I did this fundamental course and everything. Yes, of course, this is the guy who has made breathing became so aware in the West.
Yeah,
he has proven that you can tap into your own chemistry by being himself. He has held so many world records, swimming, running in shorts, marathon, Himalayas, impressive. And then the research look at him and say, okay, is this your human or is it something that he can control? So is a live proof that you can control your chemistry, that there is a light that needs to be done on the breathing. Now his own method that he has developed is more, let's say, his own habits that then the research have put lights on. So, but I wouldn't advise to do this every day, because it is not the best for optimizing your breath on a daily basis.
Okay.
The Wim Hof method. Okay.
Is it it's too aggressive on the system?
It can be too aggressive on the system. It is important to understand that the method is based on 3 pillars. So not only breathing itself or ice bath itself or meditation itself. He really combined the 3 of them as his own, let's say, philosophy of life. And the breathing techniques, when you compare to Oxygen Advantage, there is this big controversy right now, the both methods fighting together, but just because they have different modalities. Oxygen Advantage and Patrick McKeown method, Buteco breathing, are here to teach you how to breathe on an autopilot mode, how to relearn how to breathe on a 24 hours basis. Wim Hof is teaching you how to tap into your hormones, how to tap into how to put your body in danger consciously. So your body start to have this process called homeostasis, that is being okay when you're not okay. So when you put stress into an ice bath and into intense breathing like this on your body, you actually create a shock. And the whole point of this method is to say that the more you create shocks, the more you train your mind and your body to be okay when it's not okay. So then the resistance is higher, the immunity system.
It's the same. It's the philosophy of sports, right? As well, like boxing, you put yourself in danger in high stress, extreme stress on the cardiovascular system, and you learn to stay calm and make the right decisions, and you practice those movements. So very much related in the same way. It's interesting because you never give that much thought. I've never really sat and said,
I need to breathe.
Or, you know what, I'm due to do a course on breathing because it's so critical to my health and future. I'm more concerned, am I going to eat the pizza, or am I going to eat the salad, or am I going to go to the gym, or I'm not going to go to the gym? Meanwhile, this has so much amazing impact. Now, I'm a big person of people sharing their personal experiences, because I think that's when you can really tap into the benefits. I've known you for a while, and I've known you before you really dove into this journey, and now I know you now. How do you feel it's like impacted you, or what that transformation in terms of how you feel? I know it's a hard question, and you may have a challenge with like expressing yourself, but I think that's such an important thing, because then I think people can start to picture or put in their minds what that experience would be like.
To be honest with you, this is a journey that, by knowing me, you know that I'm someone who try to do a lot of different new things, who is curious and who has always been curious about holistic modalities and everything. When I started to be into more spirituality, when I started to understand that I wanted at some point to leave my good corporate jobs and take the risk without any shame to go and become my own boss, with the good and the bads and the struggling, especially in a city that is so expensive like Dubai. I was looking into things. I spent a lot of time traveling to train myself. But what I feel now is that somehow every single piece until this table tonight has been clicked together for a reason. And I start to have things now unfolding and that are truly changing my life. Now, on a physical point of view, what's happening since I started breathing is very simple. I used to do a lot of extreme sports and water sports, and I was constantly in body pain. I started the sport quite late in my life, and when I started and I invested in it, I started to be in a lot of pain because of the shocks of the sports I was doing. So for a few years, I woke up every day with muscle pain. I was starting to be into cryotherapy and a lot of things. Then Wim Hof came into the game, and then the breathing. Not to mention like the part of all of the ice and the recovery for sportive people. I used to do acupuncture, so I've always been very attracted. And now with breathing, I found this shortcut that affects everything. That's really interesting you say that. You call it a shortcut. Yeah, because you were saying like, I'm more interested, do I eat that chalad, that chicken? Do I need this gym or anything? I don't think about any of this anymore. The only thing I think is that I have my routine now. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I do 15 minutes of breathing. That's honestly everything I do. I do my yoga practice after and everything, but that can be substitute with your physical practice. That can be substitute with everything. But I'm not suffering about the heat as I thought I would be by coming back to Dubai. I catch myself during the day observing my breath. I enjoy this process. I can see my breath hold are better. I can see I'm more calm. On a physiological, I don't have pain anymore. That's also due to yoga, but
mainly breathing.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I'm sold. I'm sold. And this is, again, I can't help but say these things. And I tell you, every time we do podcasts and you sit with people, interesting people, right? Like people that you learn something from, that are doing something very specific. You learn that there's so many elements in life that we're not tapping into. And especially with health and well-being, right? Like this is your future. You're living with yourself. This is your vessel, your machine. And if you're not going to take care of it, it's not going to take care of you. And just we've all got to sometimes, I don't know, again, I'm talking about myself. I can't speak for everyone else. But sometimes I need to take a step back and start looking at my life, the lifestyle that I live, and then take decisions to help improve that, right? And improve the longevity of it, improve the mental elements and the physical elements, right? So it's crazy. Very interesting.
Use the shortcut. Breathe.
So all it takes is 15 minutes a day.
The only hack you need in life.
That's it. It's a big time life hack.
What it takes is just to understand is just to have the willingness to understand, and it's very accessible. Few techniques that will considerably improve your day. If you want to sleep better, if you want to awaken in the morning, if you want to practice exercise, at least these three, you are set to at least optimize your breathing according to what you're doing.
Why do you think it's not in schools? Why is breathing not a topic that we have in schools?
Because I'm going to bring it to schools.
Amazing. Amazing.
No, like we see a lot of posts on Instagram why yoga is not at school, why meditation we don't teach here. But that's the thing, when I say shortcut, is also accessible. A lot of things today, when you talk about yoga, is not for men. When you talk about meditation, some people are not spiritual. They are religious. They are this. They are not believers. Whatever. You cannot tap everybody with. When you talk about well-being, a lot of people assimilate it with yoga, with meditation, and if you don't bring it accessible to everybody it doesn't have to be the very traditional way, which anyway doesn't work anymore too much according to this situation and this time now. So, I would totally do it to school, at least to gyms. Why not bringing it to fitness first? You go for your body pump class, but actually if you had a breathing class in the morning at 6 and one to reset after your day, that can be as relaxing as an IOL yoga.
Yeah,
even more.
Definitely. And now I'm more conscious of my breathing too, having to wear a mask at work or out in public. I'm trying to gasp for more air, and naturally you start opening your mouth and doing that. And just recently I started focusing more on my nasal breathing. It's not easy. It's not easy.
It's not easy, and especially with this mask, to be honest, there is a big controversy at the moment with this mask, but one of the things we talk about carbon dioxide before, we are inhaling again the gas we exhaled.
Do you think that's an issue?
I think that's an issue if it is done the same thing as we just mentioned from the beginning of this talk. Whatever is done overdone is not good. So if you wear your mask, let's say 20 minutes a day, 3 or 4 times a day when you drive, when you go to the supermarket, yes, of course, it's, and I don't know what is the exact limit, but I would just say like, if you wear your mask 3 to 4 hours a day, not only you, like everything is affected again, yes.
Look, I think there has to be studies on this. If there isn't, I'm sure they're doing studies on it. So it'd be interesting to get the data and the information. I would imagine, like you said, due to the positive impact of breathing correctly, you would imagine that it would have a negative impact.
You know what? That leads me to believe, I'm not saying don't wear a mask. I'm more conscious of, okay, I need to do this 15-minute exercise in the morning to strengthen my lungs, to kind of supplement what I'm losing throughout the day.
And it's magical because it can also really be used at your own convenience, as we said before. It doesn't have to be like, I sit 15 minutes to do. This is what I enjoy doing, but then everybody resonates or relates in their own way and adapt it. What has to be done as the first thing before even starting any of this is just to put awareness on our breath. It's to take the time during the day or while you speak, between ideas, between people, between stage in your days, just to, even if you don't close your eyes, just take a few deep breaths. That itself will probably be 60% of the job done. The rest will be few optimization between, as we said, oxygenation level is between 95, 99%. We're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4% increase. But still, it's good to know which techniques to do at what time of the day.
Cool.
Oh man, again, I'm really like, I've gone deep within myself to try to say like, it's worth the investment, right? Invest, what is it, 15 minutes to improve. So now coming on that point, we're obviously going to put all your details there. What's like a recommended amount of sessions, or how long does it take for someone till you feel like, okay, they can do this?
Well, there are people who just want to understand what it is about, and especially because I work with some companies now. Usually companies want to have a talk where I explain the benefits of the breath, and I just start making people aware of whatever we just mentioned now together. And then usually go on to a few sessions with them to at least make them aware about the basics technique. So we have for individual or group sessions, or even companies sessions, either 5 or 10 sessions package. I would say that in 5 you learn probably the main techniques. Within the 10, you don't only learn the main techniques, you also start building your own routine. And really starting to be your own engineer of your own breathing, and really be able to be autonomous after that to practice alone at home. There is also more things we can add up because, as we mentioned before, it depends on the interest of people as well, if they want to cover whatever is pranayama and related to the yoga and the mindfulness parts, which I start to understand that a lot of people enjoy as well. Is we usually do 15, 20 to 25 minutes breathing. And then we do just very few movements that I take from the yoga experience, and that just awaken the body in the morning without require any big level of fitness, but awakening the joints and the main shoulders, hips in 5 minutes, guided by the breath. So we always keep the breath, but we decline it into mindfulness, meditation. So we vary. That's what 10 sessions help us to do. And then we also do experiences where I actually conduct ice baths, which then
the
becomes exactly. So
I would love to try that. Have you ever done that, ice bath?
No. I've taken
cold showers.
Cold showers, yeah,
but never done that. Shock. I'd love to try. You did cryo. How's that experience?
There is never the impact of the water is always very important. So when you do cryotherapy, I've done it many times for the sports release and muscle recovery. I must say that they tell you go minus 300 degrees. I was never really impressed or suffering. When you go into an ice bath, when you talk about the water, it's very simple. In less than 15 seconds, your entire nervous system is telling you to go out.
Wow. And
you feel the pain.
Of course.
Your breath starts being very fast. You see your entire body and your entire self in a fighting mode. And that's the moment. And the main point of the ice bath is to dominate this moment.
Yeah. Take control.
Is to overcome what your mind is telling you. Because at that moment, you understand that a lot of things rules you. And that's why usually the ice bath is a symbolic things for people to be, sometimes they tell you life-changing because simply something that they would think completely impossible happened because at some point they just released and let go whatever was in their mind to stay there.
And you feel that, you get that aha moment where it's...
Yes, of course. And you always do whatever, how many times you practice. I used to do ice baths every day recently. The first 5 seconds when you completely bring your core, because your core needs to stay at a certain temperature. So when you go into 0 degree water, it's actually creating a huge shock on your core muscles and your core organs where your everything is there.
Liver, kidney,
vital organs are all there. So you, by definition, your entire body will stay 37 degrees, all these parts, and the rest will stop the bloodstream.
Yeah.
So once
Frostbite.
you start, exactly, and that's why it's quite, you need to be careful with the hypothermia and everything. But we know what is the limit and what is the safe paddle where you can still have the main benefits of the method on the physiology. So faster recoveries for the muscles, tightening the skin, and all of the benefits of the cryotherapy combined, which happen between 2 and 3 minutes only. So you don't need to stay 15 minutes in an ice bath every day. You just need to do a gradual exposure, start very slow with someone, and I don't encourage people to do it alone.
Yeah.
Always good to, the very key of this method is the progression. And people don't understand sometimes because hypothermia can happen very often and vary from people to people.
Yeah.
So you might start not feeling your hands after 3 minutes in the ice. It might be 4.5 for me. So it can, it must be very controlled and with certified breathing coach.
There you go. I would love to try that.
Let's do it.
I don't know. Are you up for it?
I'm down. Let's do it.
Are we allowed to come and test it out with you, Liz?
Yeah, of course.
I'm really excited. Okay, we'll do it. We'll tell you guys how it goes. And hopefully our fingers will still be around.
We're Canadian. We're used to the cold. We can handle it.
True. Right, exactly. It's been too long. Man, I'm just trying to, no, seriously, I'm just trying to take this all in. So I've been big during the whole lockdown on the meditation. Like that's probably the thing that I've been the most active on. I've foregone, which is good, right? For me, it's a big thing because I've never really taken care of my brain in that way. But I dropped the gym. So although, you know, I've given something as usual, as you know, the typical
substitute.
I think a lot of people do this, right? I'm like now in terms of how you would prioritize all of this. And I know what you're going to say. Obviously, the breathing is there. But how would you prioritize it based on what you think, your experience? It doesn't mean that this has to be what everyone prescribes to, but in terms of breathing, fitness, nutrition, exercise, whatever it is, how would you categorize it? Where would you put your priorities?
Well, yes, obviously I wouldn't be here if I was not convinced that breathing itself can have an impact on everything else. Digestion, weight loss, muscle recovery, better sports performance, better sleeping pattern, more calm, relaxation, all of this. So yes, definitely convinced. Now, I must say that I am someone that tends to go very likely to extremes in everything I do whenever I'm passionate about things. And
typical addictive personalities. That's it. That's how it works.
And the main lesson I always, and I learn every day, is to keep balance, whatever you do. I began vegetarian 4 years ago, and then I'm on and off, and it's not my love for animals, and at the same time my desire to be healthy and everything. But I have tend towards the extremes. I really became almost vegan at some point, and now in Bali for 6 months, my diet was very, very clean. But it's all about balance. Whatever you do, try to compensate. So yes, breathing is a shortcut. It's going to have a massive impact on everything. But then if you breathe, but then you eat McDonald's every day, I mean, you know your balance. So it's to just tell people to understand who they are, or at least what make them feel good, and to keep a sane balance between whatever they have to do and whatever they want to do. And in the health and wellness, if you're not into exercise, if you're not into, if you're not fit or do not have any desire for yoga and everything, breathing is very simple, accessible, and can have a lot of different good impacts. But wouldn't still replace an healthy diet and exercise. So.
There you go.
Balance is the key.
Theme of the day, balance. Now, speaking of balance, I'm going to end it on this note, right? We're getting close to the end. When was the last time you had KFC?
KFC?
I couldn't even plan that as good, right? No, it's I know.
Last time I had KFC, Namir was probably with you.
I sense a little bit of imbalance there. You need to take care of the kernel, man. No.
Yeah, KFC. I guess it's Sheikh Zayed Road.
Liz, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for hosting me.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
We learned a lot. So the lesson of the day is balance, man. That's what I took away. But really cool.
Stay in your lane, balance, and breathe.
Stay in your lane. Subscribe.
Like.
That's it.
Follow.
Comment.
Follow. Tell us how you feel.
Show us some love.
Tell your friends. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.